Okay, here we are on Sunday, June 11th. It's just after 11:30, about 73 degrees. It's warming up. I didn't do a video last week because we did not have sun. We had rain. It was dreary all weekend. And I figure it's a lot nicer and you can start seeing the flowers pop with nice bright sunshine on it. So irises still waiting for those center bits to get up. I do see a lot of other irises around the varying towns that are starting to flower, and some down in Keene have actually been flowering for weeks now. But the Solomon seal is finally starting to give up the ghost. All these little pods are drying up, closing up, and the hummingbirds are moving on to other more pleasant flower arrangements, which we hope to provide them as well. So the hosta and the nasturtium are doing really good back here and filling in very nicely. And let's see the Campobella over here. Not sure how far away we are from seeing those flower. I think those are a little more midsummer. And Stargazer lily getting nice and tall over here. And of course we have the purple dragon over here. And I think we have Sweet William in the back. Over there. And we have Sweet Sebastian over here. Oh, baby boy. Oh, here's a hummingbird behind me right now. What else we got? Big hosta. Still nice and full, no stalks quite yet. This hydrangea is actually doing better. We have a brand new stalk over here, and we're still getting new stalks off of the old ones. And we have some new leaf bits starting too, brand new leaves. So I'm not sure what we'll get as far as flowers go, but the plant is doing okay. And almost the exact same on this one. Brand new stalk in the front, and new stalks off the sides with some new growth. This huge hosta here, getting lots of sun. And we'll talk more about the hosta in a little bit. Alright, let's move over here. Lots to cover today. So we have this little hosta here is not doing so good. I think it was doing better last year. But the Sweet William, this is furthest along so far in the yard. And back here with the milkweed, I had two sets that were connected to the same rhizome. And don't walk on the milkweed, child. You're blocking the entire video, child. So these three here are doing good. On this one, it's really just the center. That one on the right may or may not keep going. And these are only a little bit shorter than the patch down in the woods that I took them from. So I'll try to keep my shadow out of the way, but we have, I believe this is the cat grass growing along the edge here. I'm not quite sure if in the middle, if any of this is the catnip growing, or if that's some of the weed growing through, because it's similar to this stuff over here. The leaves are just not as pointy. We have this wild purpley flower here, really tiny flowers, but very vibrant. And they're in some patches throughout the yard, but they're also down the path down into the woods there, like 2 feet, 3 feet thick in some areas. Just tons of that. And this is all wild raspberry. Raspberry, blackberry. So that's where a lot of the bees are pollinating right now. Wrapping around here, checking on this climbing hydrangea. That flower stalk in the back dried up, so we wound up not getting any flowers from it, unfortunately. So I'm not sure how this is making out because I know it's already getting very bright, but this is some of the daisies that I don't mow. And over here we have a patch that are already open. So they're pretty much everywhere here and there. But let's see, I guess we'll swing back over here. Dee just got done cleaning out these two boxes. We're not going to do vegetables in here. We're just going to stick with the marigolds help keep the bugs around, because the mosquitoes have been really bad this year, really bad. And I don't think deer like marigolds too. So this way we'll just have some color out in the yard, looking out the windows and just generally on this side. So this mulberry, we put this in at the same time we put in the peach tree. And I'm not sure if they age. I never saw anything about trimming them, but I was wondering after the second year, because a lot of the ends get very woody and brittle. But obviously we're getting a lot less leaves this year. So, Sebastian, stick around. This has gotten nice and tall. Could actually have enough room there to put a chair and get some shade. Dee popped in another fountain over here, so the birds and the hummers over here can have a little something. We're keeping some of these. We have two different wild. These are almost like a miniature daisy type of thing. And then over here, we have this wild stuff. Not quite sure what it is, but it's pretty enough. And this is all bee balm. All filled in over here. Yeah, and there's more of this wild stuff over here. Along with some daisies along the edge of the lilac. We'll come around here. Lilies are filling out. We have a nice spider right there. So you're doing your job to keep them buggies away. Thank you. Let's saw at least one frog hanging around. And the tiger lilies in the center. Not sure why the top's flattened down like that, if that's getting ready to flower. Or if it was just all the rain that we got being a little too much for it. And we do have wisteria. You can find it in here, these little guys here. So the wisteria is back. It's kind of growing very far away from the arbor. So lots more daisies all around here. And still waiting to see what's what, but all the wildflower mix in here is filling in too. So it looks like at least 3 or 4 different types of goodies in there. And we're ways off yet from the black-eyed Susan, but these may be new leaves. I do see a little bit of a flower head in there, so hopefully not too much longer. And zig back in through the yard. We have these wild weeds. Anybody knows what this is? I tend to let it grow. It's very unique, and it's tall. It gets a little spindly toward the end of the season like everything, but otherwise it stands right up. And I'm of the opinion that pretty much anything wild growing in the soil is good. The clover's starting to fill in. Obviously I'm leaving the daisies and just any of the weeds that aren't too much of a nuisance, because they're fixing the soil, they're holding things in, and hopefully we'll restore, you know, some good balance. I had neglected the week before, but this red dogwood also flowers. It's pretty much flowered out now, but this whole thing was all white flowers too. So that's just an indication of one of the existing stalks there. So I'm sorry I didn't get that in full bloom. I just walked right past it as I was getting things, because there's so much to get lately. So this is our carousel mountain laurel that we planted and transplanted. And as you can see, it's getting its little red buds on there. And we have a natural, more of a whitish mountain laurel up at the top of the driveway, and that is just starting to get the flowers open. All right, so hosta update. The deer were not done. So they came in and they tore through the hosta again. So chewed it all right down. Here's some more of that purple, by the way. See, it's growing all along. And if you see any of those things saying that, oh, just hang soap, the deer hate the smell of soap, that is not true. In fact, one of them actually took off one of the soap bars and put it on the rock back there. Literally the morning after I spent drilling and hanging soap bars around, I had put one on the back of this windmill, and that's the one they tore off and brought down into the woods. That was either the deer or the raccoons, but yep, tore over here, and this one too. Leave all the wildflowers, right, all the nice weeds and stuff, and go after the hosta. All right, moving on to the back. Hydrangea, filling in wonderfully. No indication of any flowers yet, but that's later in the season, we know. We still have all the wild violets growing in that bed in there. Keeping some of the wild blackberry, raspberry, waiting on the bee balm to fill in or to get taller over here. But we do have these wild blueberries, starting little tiny blueberries in here. Over there. And we have more Sweet William as well, growing up here. You see the little fuzzers. Little fuzzer heads on there. Back up in here too. And he's been working and working and working back here. By the way, I just noticed this morning little flower pots. So these small lilies here are getting ready. And let's take a walk up the path here real quick, a little bit anyway. We got some brown mulch so that we can define the walkway a little better, and then have the redder mulch up along the edges with a clearly defined wall. So between the hosta and the purple dragon, it's just all filled in really nicely. Rose is doing really good. A lot of new growth this year. No indication of any flowers coming yet, but it'll get there. Oh, I'll get there. All right. Come along over here. This coleus, I'm not sure if it was a good idea to try to keep it in over the winter and get it acclimated. It's still not happy. Foamy bells on the other side here doing good, despite Sebastian's best efforts to step on things. And this peony here getting bigger and bigger, and the ants are still working on that little sugar wax covering. Clematis we have not lifted yet. Dee was reading that it doesn't really like to be touched too much, so we may have to let that be. I think there's a Sebastian right inside that window. He's run off a couple of times this morning, and so he's on probation now for a while. You can say hi, boys. Are you in jail? Yeah. Well, you gotta stay close. So Misha's little garden here is doing nice. It's getting just the kind of sunshine we were hoping it would. We got the nasturtium over here, getting bigger. We have some of the bugleweed back there. Let me focus on a little bit more on that. Fairy house, almost like purple trees. A little more cleaning, a little more fine tuning with the fountain, and it's been doing really good. Not losing water, not stopping. So I think we got the right filter medium in there to make it easy to clean, but in a good spot so it's not getting clogged up as much. And here's the walkway on this side. So it is mulch, but it gives the impression of a nice soft, rich dirt. And as long as it starts getting packed down and doesn't wash away with the thunderstorms, we'll be in a good spot. So we're going to keep gathering some more stones and maybe define that with just some of the whiter ones around, because they are everywhere. Just a matter of pulling them out and making the best of it. You can take a look down here as well. You can see the effect when you're not looking up into the sun. Little by little, every year, D makes some more improvements. And as with the bigger hosta there, you know, that's only taken a couple of years, and it's already really well established and filling in the space. All right, so here is the new feature. We're going to come in and take a look at the vegetable garden. So I apologize if this is a little bit longer. So this is lemon thyme. I believe we're going to start using this as a ground cover and let it get established. No, I'm sorry, it is pink chintz creeping thyme. So we're going to use that as a ground cover. It stands up good to getting walked on. And both in here, just because we don't want to start losing a lot of the nutritious soil getting washed away in the downpours and stuff. Okay, where to start? So basically the garden. So I guess we'll do a tour around. So these little guys here are all sunflowers, and we put in a bunch just to make sure. We have some of the red runner beans over here. Forget the exact name, but we've planted them before, and we're waiting, and I think I see a couple of leaves poking through. I'll have to look more carefully, but I put up this old goat fence just to give them something to climb up. And we're going to have to watch, because unfortunately the sunflowers on the other side may be a problem for the beans. We have another little patch of sunflowers over here, as well as a patch of sunflowers here. And we have a tomato plant over here. I believe they're Roma type tomato. On the sides we have cucumbers. This arch here was the two pieces of that cattle panel that I pulled out of the goat area. I reconnected it best I could by just wrapping it on itself and then bent it slowly. So it's not ideal, but that's pretty much the same exact thing you'll get if you just stick with a 16-foot cattle panel. I could be mistaken now, because I think these might be the cucumbers. And these, I don't know. It's going to take me a while to remember everything that's there, but I do know that these are eggplant over here, and we're already getting multiple flowers on them. On the ends we have more sunflowers. These two rows here are peppers, so I think these are green peppers, and these are banana peppers. And we have a patch here that we have cauliflower, cabbage, red cabbage, and celery and broccoli alternating through here. So more of the red cabbage, and you can tell the difference in the plants from the celery to the broccoli. I don't think we did any cauliflower, but I could be wrong. And way back up here we have lettuce. I think a couple of different types with more sunflowers in the back. We did have a casualty with one of the lettuce plants. A large brown dog who won't be named was running through here and gave a direct hit with a stomp. And we do think that a critter came in and stole the plant right out of here. So there's still the divot. We're not quite sure. But, and then over here, more sunflowers. So yet another row of sunflowers here. We wanted to get volume. You know, so as you're looking at it from a distance, you're going to see a variety. There's a lot of places for the bees and the birds to hang out. All right, now coming back in, these rows here are potatoes, and we have Yukon Gold, and I think the other was red potatoes. Yep, red Pontiac I think is the one. So those are regular potatoes. And here we have sugar pumpkins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that should be plenty. We didn't want to go with the larger jack-o'-lantern type. We figured the sugar pumpkin is something that's going to be a lot better for cooking and baking. And what else? There is still more. There is a mound over here with sweet potato growing. Nothing yet, but we're keeping an eye on daily. And that started. So about 2 weeks now it's been in. Obviously a lot of stuff we started from pots just due to the short growing season here. Sunflowers are by seed. And there is over here more Sweet William that deplanted by seed here, all along the fence line. So that'll start filling in. And I think the big plan in here too is more of the marigolds throughout, just to keep back the pests and stuff. And I think we may do a mound or two up here of the Three Sisters, just like we're planning on doing in that small fenced area by the goats. Just our staging area, just a cheap little table, some gardening stuff, a chair, which we're not sitting in too much lately because, again, the mosquitoes are so bad. We're just hanging on to the water bucket for now for water. We did get enough hose to get in here, and we're going to do just some gutters on both sides of the donkey shed, and we'll get some food grade barrels to keep some water as well. So if we get into a drought situation, we still have enough water to keep the gardens going. I mean, we still have not run out with our well. It's pretty deep, but just to be safe, it's always good to have a backup, especially when you start having more plants. And there's so much rainfall up there, and when you got a good roof area, might as well make the most of it. Oh yeah, look how great this nasturtium's coming along. Nice and full. And of course these Vinca vine are doing great too. Oh guys. I gotta take a look at that mask that's on the maple back there and see, but I normally don't focus on this side too much, but we do have the masks on the cedar over here as well. And then another one up here. So that's it. It's gonna get up to at least 80 today, nice and hot. So break time's over. I gotta go and get back to things. Well, it's nice and dry because it's getting some more rain in tomorrow. But at least it's going to be more summer-like, more temps in the 70s rather than days, you know, barely getting in the 60s. So, yeah, I have another bar of soap hanging in the lilac there. But as we've seen, that doesn't seem to deter the deer. So, back to the drawing board with that one. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I'll probably be keeping more regularly, even if it does rain, as the vegetables come along and all that. So, have a good rest of your weekend and a good week.